too long ago on the boat, he said, "Why do you use the screw lock?" And the reason he asked is because he had just a regular, shove-on type of jig head, and I cut it off, threw it up on the dash, and re-rigged him with one. And he said, "Oh, you want me to use your jig heads, huh?" I said, "Well, it's not that. I just don't want you to use that jig head. I just don't want you to use that one." And so I explained to him the reasoning, my reasoning, for the screw lock and what I liked about it. And I told him, I said, well, first of all, I said, yes, they do have my name on them. I'm not the only one that had anything to do with designing them at all. There's a bunch of people involved in it. But what I like about it is it has a 3.5 turn spring, and it has a little gap between the head and the spring. Also has the lead covering the eyelet where the hook comes together with the shank, so you don't ever pop your braid or pop your line through that little tiny little opening that most have. All right. The other thing I like about it is the bait stays on it. Stays on it better. Backlash doesn't pull down. Fish hits it, doesn't pull down. Catch 4 or 5 fish, doesn't pull down necessarily. Whereas a push-on will. Okay? Push-on's faster to put it back on, but then it comes off again. You can use super glue, but it's messy. You drop it on your boat, sticks, ruins this stuff. Your fingers stick together. It cheeses up when you take it off, and now you got a big old piece of plastic, and it's hard, and it doesn't work. Okay? And while you're fishing, getting bites, and you go through a lot more baits, and while you're changing, it's downtime. And that's especially critical during this time of year when it's super hot and the bite is early in the day, as far as a real bite. And then, 30 minutes after the sun comes up, we're moving out to deeper water and grinding, deeper structure, secondary structure, trying to get a bite from fish that aren't wanting to bite. All right? So when I finally find some fish that will bite, I don't want my guys spending half the time putting a bait on. All right? The reason for that is it takes them out of the game. I need them in the game. Okay? I need them in the game. That's what I need them to do. I need them to be fishing so they can be catching them, because that is what they're paying for, is to catch them. All right? Does it take longer to put a screw lock jig head on than a push on? Of course it does. Of course it does. But the benefits are much, much higher. All right? I use a 16th ounce 2/0 hook. Everybody knows that. I mean, I maybe throw an 1/8 ounce once in a while, but I don't throw it very much. But I'm seldom fishing water deeper than 4.5 to 5 feet. So my swing is grooved for that type of weight. All right? Okay. Well, that's this week's tip. Hope it gives you a little insight on, why screw lock is popular, especially south of Port O'Connor. Maybe it gives you a little insight. And if you got issues and you're using something else, try it. Okay? All right. Thank you. Hope to see you around the water or on the dock. As always, turn them loose if you can.